Did you know that in dissociative identities, there isn't a core self, essential identity, or an original? So I want to preface this by saying tread lightly on the rest of this video if you're newly diagnosed. Notice those feelings that you're feeling internally. Who may be feeling those feelings, especially if you're newly diagnosed, looking to get diagnosed, dipping your toes in the water of suspecting to have dissociative identities. So when we talk about developmental psychology, we talk about personality not being born as a whole, rather a aspect that develops through early childhood. And what you notice with those who have dissociative identities is that the parts of the self were not able to create a cohesive identity within the individual. Now, when we talk about other types of traumas, of course, there are going to be issues with trauma and identity and personality and the self, but we're just focusing on dissociative identities. In safe environments, we develop self states. And so in that particular term, these self states don't get a chance to grow to become one self-actualized person. So it can be very, very difficult to come to terms with the idea of, but I thought I was the core self. I thought I was the one, that everything else was just kind of flying around. And if I could just get those other parts of myself to make sense and behave and stop being maladaptive, that I could lead a fruitful, healthy existence, reduce the dissociation. But in reality, what we need to do is invite all parts of the self, because that is what makes one whole, is having those full parts, being able to communicate, being able to work together, being able to work through their pain, their trauma, their turmoil, their maladaptive behaviors, because parts themselves are not maladaptive. It's the behaviors that one exhibits. Same as I have CPTSD, I have maladaptive thoughts, and I have maladaptive behaviors that were utilized in order to survive. And so that's where the maladaptive thoughts come into play. They were survival coping skills, and we want to be able to process through that. And so it can be a grieving process to work through the reality that there is no core self that one has to get to. It's being in communication and attunement with all of the parts of the self. And I recommend this for anybody working through trauma work, CPTSD work, is to become attuned to the self. It is absolutely vital, because that is a component that was not there through childhood, is the lack of attunement, the lack of attachment, and those are significant factors in trauma expression. So it's not the end of your story, it's just the beginning of your story. And there's many people who would love to walk alongside you, and I'm hoping that this page can be a form of another support for you, a place to turn and connect with the dissociative identities community. So happy working.